Where do you get your ideas? How do you make a character? What if you don't know where to start?
Wow, someone's full of questions today.
Well, it's not me asking. It's what everyone always wants to know, right? The internet wants to know. How do you do it?
Oh, I see. The internet wants to know. Don't worry, I think I can help with that. Today, I want to take you through my process of coming up with an original character. From scratch. Not just the design process, but the entire concepting phase.
That's just a fancy way of saying where she gets ideas from.
A while back, I made a video where I redesigned my 9-year-old character designs for my project Glitch Witch, a series idea centered around Vex, a tomboy witch who tries to combine science and magic through her inventions. And I teased that I have a little 8-minute script for a sort of pilot episode sitting around for this.
And a radio play, where actors already read out the script. When are you going to use that anyway?
Well, in the script, I have a character with no name, who I know next to nothing about, and I have no idea what he looks like. I thought it might be fun for me to develop that character here with you guys. Then, when I do one day make a storyboard for that pilot episode, all of you guys will know we made that character together. Sound like fun? So, step 1, excavation.
Okay, I'll get my pickaxe.
Okay, that's dramatic, but it's kind of true, since the character I'm going to make already exists as a side character in our story. There are some things I can dig up about him in that story. The main thing going through my story is the fact that this unnamed character is listed as the announcer kid.
Poor kid. Has no name, but he's got a job.
And believe it or not, that actually already tells us a lot. This character is the official announcer kid over the PA system at his school. Not only to make school announcements, but also color commentary at the sports games held at the school. Specifically football in the case of this one script. In all his dialogue, he is very lively and energetic. I even already hired a voice actor for that character and has an almost old-fashioned vibe to it.
Wide receiver Eric Whistler, better known as Whistler the Wisp, earned his nickname for being impossible to tackle. He's like a ghost running on the field.
Like a newsboy back in the 1890s, shouting on the street different headlines to entice you to buy newspapers from them. And that is plenty to move forward with. That gives me inspiration. I know this character will be inspired by the idea of a newsboy from the late 1800s, but also a modern-day teenager with a love of sports.
And probably loves the sound of his own voice.
The next step, my character needs an identity. He needs a name. Now, based on my inspo, I want to find a name that fits the idea of the late 1800s for a newsboy. So it'll probably be a classic older name, but I still want it to stand out. I want to avoid names like John for this one. So he has a specifically vintage vibe. The kind of names that immediately come to mind are things like James, Oliver, Noah, Rupert, etc. I don't specifically want to use any of those names though, but I want to find something with that overall feeling.
Really? Here's 4 names I like, but I like none of them, and won't be using them. Time to find totally different ones. Why? Why not Rupert? I thought that was funny.
Once I have something like that, my favorite naming website, magicbabynames.com. They have a search bar where you can list out a few names you like, so it'll find similar names to suggest. In this case, this led me to a very big list of many similar names, but none of them specifically sparked joy for me, so I'll try a different method to narrow things down.
I'm still voting Rupert. How often do you meet a Rupert?
So, when looking up names doesn't specifically inspire me, I like to go back to the drawing board and maybe do some research based on the things that were working for me. So, when I think of newsboys, like most people, I think of 2 things. The movie Newsies, and the real-life newsboy strike of 1899. Time to look into a bit of history.
When did this turn into a history lesson? Will this be on the test?
Taking a look at the real newsboys from the strike, a few names show up the most. Louis Kid Blink Barletti, David Simmons, Ed Racetrack Higgins, Morris Cohen, Henry Major Butts Butler, and Annie Kelly. Barletti was the leader that headed the strike, but I don't feel like Louis is a good first name for my character. Morris Cohen took Barletti's place as president later in the strike, when he stepped down, and I do like the name Morris for my character.
I take it back. Rupert has been replaced. Major Butts is now officially the funniest name in this video. All hail Major Butts. Or salute, since he's a major.
Now, on to the last name. For last names, I usually start either with ethnicity and doing research based on that, or if I don't have something specific in mind, I'll look up a word I associate with the character. Well, this is the announcer kid, so let's look up the word announcer. Other similar words include report, make known, host, notify, and declare. I like declare, something sort of old and official about that. As it turns out, declare is a last name already, found in the USA between 1880 and 1920. Perfect for the time period I'm inspired by.
Well, I do declare, that is very convenient indeed. Are you secretly a time traveler? You know an awful lot about this.
Morris Declare, the school announcer with a vintage taste and loves the sound of his own voice almost as much as he loves sports. To me, Morris sounds like he'd be a little guy with a big voice. So that gives me a good framework of what he'll look like. And of course, his vintage style will have a pretty big effect on how he's dressed. I'm thinking a good old-fashioned newsboy cap, some trousers, and I'm torn between suspenders or handkerchief around his neck. This is a kid with a lot of swagger, so he'll need to accessorize, but in his own way.
An old-timey sportscaster, huh? Usually those guys all wear dark suits, so he'll for sure stand out. Extra, read all about it. Time Traveler gives Newsy a voice amplifier and calls it a microphone. Major Butts declares it's an unnatural magic.
They already invented the microphone by the late 1870s, Eli.
More proof of time travel. How else could you know that?
Designing Morris was actually really simple after all that work I did beforehand. I collected as much reference on newsboy-style outfits as I could, and landed on a gray, brown, and tan color palette, with a little pop of red in his handkerchief. I made his newsboy hat a prominent part of his character, and made it a point of interest by having multiple colors on it, but still matching parts of the rest of his outfit. I also draw your eye to the face with a few other details, like his floofy dark hair, and a little gap in his teeth. I'm not sure why, but cartoons with a gap in their teeth, to me, are always cute and feel talkative.
I would just think a gap means he's good at whistling.
I made sure that Morris matches the overall style of the other characters I designed for Glitch Witch before. But I think he also stands out on his own as his own character. You can't look at him and mix him up with anyone else. And I think you can get at least some idea of who he is as a person just by looking at him. You could at least look at him and think he's probably not mainstream popular, he's probably into vintage fashions of some kind, and he seems like a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. Which is all true. Morris is off the beaten track, but a lot of fun. I feel like I really got to know Morris Declare from doing this, and that means in future ideas for Glitch Witch, I'll probably be more likely to write him into those stories, when he was originally going to be like a one-off character, convenient for just this one story I had to tell already. And that's really what this is all about, right? Finding ways to fall in love with your characters, and want to give them more attention and feeling inspired by them.
I think Morris already gets enough attention when he makes announcements. For a kid with no name, he had a lot of lines in pilot episode. Seems like he just wants a lot of attention.
Talking for attention, huh? What a crazy thing to do.
What are you implying? Don't make me sick Major Butts on you. He's silent but deadly.
I hope you guys learned a lot about my personal process for developing at least the very early steps to create a character, even when it's just a side character.
Everyone knows there is no small parts, only small actors.
That's right, Eli. Every character matters, no matter how little screen time they have. Besides, everyone knows, once a character has a full name, they must be important, right? And if they feel that way to you, you'll likely give them a lot more thought and effort, and inevitably be better for it.
More is better. Get it? More's better. Maybe his last name should have been better.
And I've said it once and I'll say it again. If you guys are excited about my idea for Glitch Witch and want me to do the storyboard for the pilot episode and document my process on doing that here on YouTube, leave this video a like and comment what you're excited about. It'll be a lot of time and work, but if it's something you guys want, I'll make it happen.
Only because I keep bugging you about the radio play. Unused, sitting around, with Morris's voice announcing to no one. Tragic, really.
You know, Eli, there are other ways to motivate me.
If you say so. I just go with what works.
Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.
Does that mean there's no history test?